Welcome back. I already have my patternfills.psd file open, so if you guys don't already, double click the file, it'll automatically open up Photoshop and your file. Should be looking at anywhere between 6 and 8 layers depending on how many objects that you have. I'm going to do a little bit of a tweak to possibly each one before we go ahead and define it as a pattern, which is like the major part of the whole project. Right now, I have my top layer selected, which is 6. You might be 7 or 8 depending on your images. I have every other one hidden by those eyeballs. It's very important for what we'll be doing. Our first step, and we're going to be repeating all of these steps for each layer or image that you have, is to defringe. So up here in your top, where you have file, edit, image, etc., you're looking for layer, and then you're looking for matting, which I think is all the way at the bottom. Yeah, it is, right here. Matting, and then defringe. What that does, I like using a 2 pixel or maybe even a 3 pixel width, is if there's like any little kind of like jaggedy edges to your images, it helps smooth them out. So then hit OK. And you don't need like a huge defringe. A little one can make a pretty big difference sometimes. Alright, now that I have it defringed, we want to define this or make this a pasteable pattern later. To do that, at the top, edit right here. And then if I'm correct, there should be define pattern. Yes, right here. So about a little more than halfway down, define pattern. Click that. I do recommend naming it, and you'll see why in a little bit. Naming it is whatever you want, but it does help having a formal name. Remote, is the M capitalized? Remote. I guess there's also a nunchuck in here, but whatever. Anyway, name it whatever you want, and then hit OK. That's all you really need to do. So now we're going to hide that layer, bring in layer 5, or whatever layer it is for you, and let's defringe it first. So layer, what was it, matting? Oh, it's not coming up. Anybody want to guess why? Speaking to you like there's a class here. The reason why is because layer 5 wasn't selected. I was still on layer 6, which is hidden, so I can't do anything to a hidden layer. So now layer, matting, defringe, 2 pixel width, and then hit OK. So then let's go to edit, and then we are looking for define pattern. I'll just call this switch, and then hit OK. Eyeball that one out. Eyeball in the next one. Select the layer, and then we'll go to layer, matting, defringe, 2 pixels, and then edit. I'm going to go fast for these. Define pattern, NES. The first console I ever played or owned. Alright, GameCube. I have the correct layer selected, so layer, matting, defringe, 2 pixels, edit, define pattern, GameCube. Eyeball that one out, take that one, Super Nintendo, we have the correct layer selected, layer, matting, defringe, 2 pixels. Instead of clicking OK, you can always hit enter and it does the same thing. Enter or edit, define pattern, SNES, and then hit OK. Eyeball that one out. Select your last layer. Well, depending on how many you have, I'm on the last one. Layer, matting, defringe, 2 pixels, OK. Edit, define pattern, N64. Okay. All right, I have every single pattern selected. So the last thing we're going to do for this video before we move on to the final one is set up a final file. So let's go ahead and do that now. File, new, up at the very top. All right, everything got all mumbo-jumboed in here again. Where it says pixels over here, please change that to inches like we did before. And you're going to want both a width and height of 12. So 12 by 12 inches. Because it's a square, the orientation literally has not mattered. Resolution 300, color mode CMYK. And now this matters. Up here where it says Untitled 1, you're your file name should be your first name, your last name, pattern, fill. Okay, right there. Or pattern. We'll just call it pattern. I've been calling it the pattern fill because you'll be seeing what we do with it in a little bit. But first name, last name, pattern. That's it. Everything else is good. Hit create. All right, let's save this file. File, even though it's just a white square right now. Save as. Save on your computer. Desktop. First name, last name, pattern.psd. Save. There it is. All right, we have 3 Photoshop documents for one project. At the end, though, we can delete the other 2. Don't do anything yet, just in case. All right, guys. One more video to go. Pretty easy stuff coming up, but it's random, so it should be interesting to see what we get. All right, take care.